where you're focusing on your own vision versus paying for some or working for someone else.
It don't work. To the mailbox, and I got $12,000 worth of checks. You know, it's one of the things that says, I'm gonna bet on me.
All right, so welcome to Theory of the Dollar. I'm Dr. Jermaine Kimble, and first let's cover the basics. Why should you care? There are a million podcasts out there. What makes this one different? What makes this one special? So what makes this different? There are, like I said, a million podcasts out there, and a lot of them, they focus on getting you to the point of wanting to buy a training course from someone else. They talk about, you know, all the ways that you can make money, all the side hustles that exist. And, you know, that's great. And they give you just enough and say, okay, go to my website and buy this training course. And you don't even know if they made that training course themselves or if they bought it or had it done on AI. There's a number of ways that people make money using this. And frankly, I don't think that is as helpful as they put it out there, or else there would be a lot more millionaires like they claim to be. So what makes this different? I plan to speak to the people who have actually done this, whatever that may be. So like our first guest would be Dr. Greg Shealey. And, you know, when we talk about real estate, he actually does this and he has a very successful business. And what separates this podcast from others, he's going to tell you exactly how he did it. We're going to go through the steps. We're going to start with, you know, how he got started, what prompted him to take that leap. Because like many of us, we all have our 9-to-5s, but we have dreams of doing something better, something different. So how do you get started? How do you get your money to do these things? How do you build credit? Whatever the case may be, we're actually cutting out the middleman and we're giving you the gems of how they did what they did. So that's why you should care. And hopefully you'll stick around for us. So, like I said, my first guest is Dr. Greg Shealey. And I appreciate you coming out, brother.
I appreciate you having me. I really do.
Yeah. So
and, I didn't know we were using our most formal titles.
We're not.
But this, too late now.
This is the first episode.
Too late now. You're doctor. I'm doctor. You put it out there.
I did. But again, I want people to understand that, you know, who we are. But that's not, you know, everything is not focused on our title. So
there you go.
It's Greg and Jermaine. Okay.
There we go. We go.
All right. So what I want to talk about, like I mentioned during the intro, I want to get into the how you got to the way you are. So I need you, this part of the show is where you toot your own horn. So you tell the people about you and why they should care.
Okay, so you wanted me to start at the beginning of how I transitioned?
No, I want you to first tell them where you are, and then we'll get to it.
Okay, my name is Greg Shealey, originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I've been in Atlanta, Georgia for almost 30 years now. Okay. I own a company, National Property Institute. National Property Institute is a real estate investment company. We've been in business for, what is today, the 18th? We've been in business for 19 years, 11 months, in 20-something days. Okay. We mainly focus on building and rehabbing houses for different municipalities, for first-time home buyers, for seniors and things like that. So we work with a lot of government entities. Mm-hmm. So sometimes we work on a federal level, sometimes we work on a state level, but our bread and butter is working on the local level. Cities, counties, school boards, economic development and things like that. So we carved out our niche in that area. So over the 19 years, 11 months and 23 days, we've done completed over, let's say, over 1,000. We're probably somewhere around 1,000 projects so far. We've probably contracted maybe over that period of time, 50 million, somewhere around $50 million in total. Our total compensation, our total development, somewhere around $50,000.
50,000?
50 million.
Okay, because you
50
said
million
first.
I'd be,
you said million first, so we just keep you honest. So you know what? I got a good question because you said this to me once before. Mm-hmm. I can't remember your guy's name, but you told me when you guys were partnering, 1 year, what's the most you've paid out to your employees? Like you in checks that you've paid out. So I'm not going to ask you how much you make, mm-hmm. but how much have you paid your contractors or employees? The most you've ever paid out in a year?
Well, my second in command, she probably made let's say like 200,000 in a year. She's probably she does well. But one of my guys, this is one of the things that I'm most proud of is some of the guys that I brought along, and I don't want to say their names, but when I met him, he was doing just odd task work, and I took him under my wing. I taught him how to become a project manager, and then he went from project. He learned how to build rehab houses. He learned how to build houses. He learned the whole business, and he was probably making, let's say, about 150 a year. So he went from doing odds and ends to being firmly in the middle class, and just doing really well. However, now subcontractors, oh boy, I had subcontractors that have made $500,000, doing subcontractor work.
And that's what I'm trying to get to the point at. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to try and count your pockets, but it speaks to your level of success if you can pay out $500,000 to to subcontractors and 200,000 to. So that's all I wanted to get to. That you're actually doing this for real.
Yes.
This isn't.
So I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off,
please.
but there is a subcontractor, and this is what makes me feel good. There's a subcontractor. When I met him hand to mouth in front of Home Depot. Hey, brother, I can do some work for you. I'll do anything. He came in, just done little work, and then to the point where he had workers, he is rehabbing houses for me. To this day now, and I'm jumping forward. So let's say he started like 12 years ago. Now he has a company that's bigger than mine.
Wow.
So there's times where, there we go. Yeah. So now he has a company that's bigger than mine. There's times where he's like, hey, I'm hitting him for, do you have this, or could you help me out on this? Now he's a full-fledged doing subdivisions, and he was hand and mouth from Guatemala, and I have 3 of them who are like that. 3 people who work for me, starting off just doing odds and ends, and now they have full-fledged companies that are making multi-million dollars.
That's what's up. So, all right. So the theory of the dollar, what I want to focus on is my theory of the dollar. It represents time. All right. So the time that you're either investing in yourself, or the time that someone is paying you to focus on their vision. Mm-hmm. So how did you get to this point where you're focusing on your own vision versus paying for or working for someone else's?
It just, when I got into the business, I saw an infomercial. I saw an infomercial one day, and it said it was about Choose to Be Rich. It was Robert Kiyosaki, about 20 years ago, and he explained, it was one of those long 30-minute infomercials, and it explained how you could make money in real estate. And I was listening to it like, oh, this is some BS, another BS, but I was too tired to turn the TV. And I listened to it a little more and said, oh, this works. And then this is the time I was getting my PhD, so I brought the videos, the CDs, and I brought the little book, and I was going back and forth. I was like, this works. So it started to shift my mind on how you can make money in real estate. And then I read a lot. I read so many books. So it was a series of books I was reading to edify my understanding of how to get from here to there. So it started off hearing that and then coming up with a plan.
Okay. So what were you doing at the time? So you were in school yourself, but what was your job? What were you?
I was a teacher. I was a teacher in DeKalb County.
Okay.
And I came up with a plan, and I told my department, I said, hey, I'm gonna work this plan. I said, I think I can make some money on that plan. And the teachers were like, but you're gonna give off something. We got the summers off, and we work 9 months out of the year. You're gonna give this up? All this work you did to do that? Looked him in the eye and said, yeah.
So
let me get it.
See, a lot of people aren't willing to take that leap. So you quit before you started, or?
Kind of, sort of. Like, I came up with the plan, I wrote it down, and I worked through the plan. So as I was going to become a real estate investor, I was an investor before I was a contractor. I would go out as I was investing, buying houses. I'd write down a number. I knew my number that I would go up to. And for a whole year, I would say, okay, if I bought this house at this price, I can do these things. And then I just track it and see how much money I was making. So I was going through the process before I actually went through it. So once I said, this could work, and I was looking at my plan, I was like, there's one thing that's getting in the way. You know what that one thing was?
Money.
It wasn't the money, it was my job.
Okay.
I was like, my job is getting away from me making money. I was like, I'm spending too much money on the job to work this plan. So I saved up a little bit of money. And I was like, I'm going to roll this dice. I'm going to roll this dice. And, you know, that's one of the things I said. I said, I'm going to bet on me.
Okay. So, all right, stop right there for a second.
Mm-hmm.
What was your family situation like? You had kids?
I was married, but I don't think I had kids. I didn't have any kids at that time.
Okay. Because, you know, that's a roadblock for many. Like, I can't see how I'm going to feed my kids and my family if I take this jump. So, all right, so no kids.
Mm-hmm. No kids at the time.
All right. So you quit your job. You said you're going to bet on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so how did this work? Like, all right. And I have a very rudimentary understanding of real estate investing. Mm-hmm. So, you know, and what a lot of people that I've spoken with about this, the roadblock is the money to buy the property. Like, how do you get started? You know, if you're going to do a hard money loan, which is a private lender, you know, they have high interest rates. You still got to come to the table with something. So if I don't have down payment money, I'm kind of like hamstrung and getting started. So
those are great questions. Great question. So I'd never used hard money, but when I was starting back out in 2004, 2005, hard money was horrible. It's a lot better now. Hard money, it was like, you can use it for 4 months and it was 22, 25%. And I would go through the numbers and I was like, this doesn't work. You know, I'd be losing money every month. So I pulled the money out of the walls. I had a house. I pulled the money out of the walls. I got a home equity line of credit and I pulled the money out, and I had some savings and I pulled the money out of there. And I tell people, you know, there's a lot of these get rich quick schemes that you hear online and things like that, and no money down and something like that. I've never seen it work. Look at everybody who can hear the sound of my voice right now, who can look into my eyes. It don't work. I have never seen it work. No money. If you ain't got no money, then your first job or your first hustle would be to what? Get some money. It does not work. So if you're going into, especially into real estate with a venture, and you're like, I'm doing it with very little money, guess what? I'm gonna be buying your house on the courtyard steps when you go bankrupt on it, because it does not work.
So, and that's all right, because I know of a couple companies. I'm not going to say names, but they say, you know, $0 down if the deal is good enough. They will do 100% financing, right? So if you can walk in with a good deal, and then, you know, there's the fine print about, you know, it's going to cost you like $1,200 for them to inspect the property to see if they're going to do zero. So it's from the rip, it's already not, you know, $0 down. So, like, can you give an example, like some of the things that people see? Maybe not a company, but how they mislead, you know, amateurs.
Yeah. So again, I don't do hard money, but I don't knock hard money because it's a lot better now. But back in the day when people were doing hard money, I heard of properties by these hard money lenders being sold 5 times. They get the money, you know, they loan you the money, you're paying on it. There's high interest, you're paying that note. Within 1 year, you're losing the property. They get the property back. They give it to somebody else. Same thing. Get the property back. It's just the same cycle.
So they're making money off of the default loans, basically.
They're making money. They're just buying it back, you know, and just keep reselling the house.
Okay. All right. So keep going with your story. You decide to gamble on yourself. You take your money from your HELOC and from your savings. So.
Yeah, so I take the money out of my HELOC. In the very first house I bought, I actually sold, that house was in like 2005, almost 2006, 6-ish. I just sold it last year. So I had that house for a long period of time.
You were renting it?
I was, you know what? It was empty. That's a curveball. It was empty for like 7 years.
Oh, wow.
It was empty because, let's talk about it being empty. because then we're going to go into the numbers. So that house, the person who was renting the house, she passed away. She passed away when she was in the house. So then the house was empty. So the house needed like $30,000 to to update it and get it ready to rent again. However, if I'd have spent that $30,000, I did the time cost of the money. If I'd have did the $30,000, it would have took me so much longer to recoup that $30,000 because the mortgage on the house was only $677. So every month I was like, I can find $677 to pay on this house, instead of putting $30,000 in it or $30,000 to $40,000 in it, and then I have to then get a renter and things like that. And when you do the numbers, it was like, oh, I'm gonna make only a couple $100 on this house, or I could just pay the $677 every month. Did it for 7 years, but it worked. It worked because when I sold the house, it went up in value so much that I ended up making a grip on the house. So when I looked at the time value of the money over a period of time, I actually did okay with not
paying it,
not putting the money in it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I kept it up. I just didn't do new cabinets. I didn't, the flooring and things like that. I didn't do none of that.
Okay. So how did you learn? All right. So trial by error, or how? So when you got your first house, and how did you learn what needed to be done? How did you avoid people ripping you off? Because dealing with contractors, there's no regulatory body that says these are the prices that so they don't prevent gouging that way. So like going to get your car fixed, they say you need a main circuit is going to cost you $3,000. They just made that up. So how do you avoid those pitfalls when you get started? When you're learning this.
That's the toughest part. I mean, I read so much. I mean, I read and research all day, every day. And then I got this theory, one of the theories that I had. I got a lot of theories. Okay. As we go through this interview, you want to hear all these damn theories.
Let's do it.
One of my theories was ask a lot of questions, listen and don't forget. So I would, there was a lot of, in the 2000s, there was a lot of construction going on. I would just go to construction sites, say, who's the project manager? Project manager's over there. I just go over there and just start asking questions. A lot of times they were like,
You're just a random dude off the street asking questions.
Yeah, I would just pull over, ask questions. And when my daughter was like 4 years old, she'd be like, Daddy, not again. She'd be like, Daddy, not again. But I would pull over, just ask a lot of questions, How much does this cost? How do you get them to do that? How do you do that? What can I do? Can I come back tomorrow and shout it? I would just constantly do that. I'm self-taught. My father was a general contractor. I grew up in general contracting. I learned zero because I hated it. I despised it. Up in the north, up in Pittsburgh, it'd be freezing cold. And when I was a young guy, he'd take us to work, and I just like shut down because I hated this business so much. And that's the main reason why I got a PhD, because I said, I'm getting a PhD because I'm never going into this business. Mm-hmm. And then once I fell into the business, it was a total grind every day of just reading. You probably cannot ask a book on business development, real estate that I have not read.
That's what's up. So, okay. Tell me another one of your theories. Because a lot of people aren't comfortable with just stopping a random stranger and asking questions. So, if that is not an avenue that they're willing to take, do you have another theory about how else they can get the information they need?
Well, that goes back to ask a lot of questions, listen, don't forget, and not just retaining the information, because exactly what you said, a lot of people don't like reading and things like that, so you got to keep asking questions over and over and over again, and you'll start hearing a common theme. Once you start hearing that common theme, you can start to validate that common theme. But I got a lot, like people don't invest in your ideas, they invest in your success. Mm. So when I first started, if I wanted someone, it's like, Jermaine, $50,000 we going on this house. You'd probably look at me like, hell, I'm going to give you $50,000 for it. Shoot, I can invest in my podcast. But they invest in your success. See, now we can sit down and I'll say, hey, I can show you this plan. $50,000, this is what I did 10 years ago, and this is what I did 2 years ago. This is what I did 3 years ago, because you can see the success that I had. So those are some of the things that, once you're building a team, you know, don't get upset when people are like, nah, I'm not ready for that. No, I'm not giving you money, because people don't see your success.
That's good. That's a gem. I like that. I like that. Okay, so keep us going. So, first property, you got it.
Yeah. So now we get ready to get good. So first property, I brought it on the courthouse steps of DeKalb County. Brought it on the courthouse steps for $82,000, refinanced it for $120,000, pulled the equity out of that one, rolled that into the next one about 2 months later. That first year I had 12 properties, and that's what I did. Rolled one into another, one into another. So my sweet spot was 3 2s with an unfinished basement. So I'd buy a 3-2, 3 bedrooms, 2 bath with an unfinished basement, finish out the basement, turn them to 5 3s. I'd make 2 more bedrooms down there, and put another bathroom down there, 5 3s. Then I would put them on Section 8. Have a gang of bad kids in the house because they could not move as easy. So if you had a family of 5 or 7 children, they're going to tear up your house. But guess what else they're going to do? They're going to stay in the house because, one is, there wasn't a lot of 5 3s out there. 2, it costs a lot of money when you have kids. So I started doing that, and that was my niche. And then...
Let me stop you for a second. What's the benefit of Section 8?
But guaranteed money.
Okay.
Guaranteed money. So back in the day, I had a house and this is 15 years ago. So I had a house, the note was like $300. And the rent, I was getting $1,600 in rent a month. So that was good cash flow. So I had
and it's guaranteed since it's the government.
Guaranteed. They had to pay $50. It was like $1,600. They had to pay $50. And then I had one that was 2 doors up. The note was like $250 on it, and they were paying. I was getting like $1,350 on that house. So I was paying like $550 on the 2 notes of those 2 houses, and I was getting like $3,000 right there. Just those 2 houses. I was like, oh, I'm making my teacher's salary. I'm making more than my teacher's salary on just those 2 houses.
And this was in the first year?
This was probably like in the second year of being an investor.
So within 2 years of you taking a leap, you was making your salary.
Oh yeah, I was making more than those 2 houses.
Okay.
So in that second year, I would go to the check. I could have been an infomercial. I was going to my mailbox and getting my checks out of the mailbox at the beginning of the month. It was I was getting $12,700 in rents, and I was paying $6,500 in notes. So I was making, let's say, like $5,000 or something like that. And I was like, I could be an infomercial. I could be that guy and said, every month I walk right into the mailbox and I got $12,000 worth of checks. Thank you. I could have been a walking infomercial, and I wouldn't have been lying. So I was like, man, back then I didn't have a lot of bills. I was like, I really can live off of this. I can live off of $5,000. That $5,000 back then was probably equivalent to $8,000 now. I was like, I can just live off of this and chill. But then I had this bright idea. The bright idea was, if I'm doing this, I'm buying houses, I'm putting them on Section 8, and I'm fixing them up. There's probably other people who need houses that need to be fixed up too. So I'm thinking I'm calling the Section 8 office. Hello, my company, National Property, we want to, if you need somebody to fix up houses, we can do that. And I ended up calling the wrong department. I called housing, not Section 8. And I thought it was the same. So housing is totally different. So there was a lady in housing. She said, yeah, we're looking for contractors to do it. And I was like, how do you get on the list? And she said, I'm going to send you out a packet. And she sent me out a packet, and it showed me all the things that we had to do, all the insurance, all the certificate, everything. So we did that, and we started doing houses. By mistake, we started doing houses in housing department. The housing department in DeKalb County started rehabbing houses for like seniors and disabled people. And we probably, over the next 6 years, maybe 6 or 7 years, I probably did like 400 with DeKalb County. And then I started doing the city of Atlanta, and then Clayton County, city of Marietta, Cobb County, Rockdale County, Fulton County. So I was doing all these counties, the same program, and all these different ones. So I've done, in just that one program, I've probably done 700 houses.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what's the benefit of? I mean, the city's not going to pay market value for the work. So is there a benefit for it, or am I assuming wrong? I mean,
Sometimes, sometimes they'll pay market value. The benefit is, uh, the money is there before you do the work. The money is there. It's illegal to have someone doing work and not pay them. Another thing is they make you good. There's so many checks and balances that you have to go through. So many inspections and things like that. There's a ton more inspections. You have HUD, you have the county, then you have the county inspectors. So, and then you have an inspector, home inspector. So you might go through 4 sets of inspectors. So they make you good. The bad thing is you go through all these things, and everyone wants to put everything on you. Everything is on you. They could mess up something. It's on you. They could overlook something. It's on you. You have to find a way to say, okay, I got that. I'll do that.
okay, damn, okay. So all right, so contracts, house build. Let's get to your building houses now.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you eventually get to that point?
Okay, so after that, after I did, let's say, 500 to 600 rehabs, I got into I was getting the hardest rehabs, where the house is half falling down and you have to jack it up to do all these things. I was getting the hard projects, and I was like, man, it's probably easier to build them from the ground up. So one day I said, it's probably easier to build them from the ground up because you see what's inside the walls. You're rehabbing them, you don't know what's inside the walls. So I started reading on how to build them from the ground up, and someone told me, they said, yeah, just start off with some little starter homes. I said, yeah, I'm gonna start off with some really starter homes. And no, I started off with like a 5,000 square foot home, a big home. I was like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go big. So I started building, from there, just learning and cutting my teeth. I knew the subcontractors, everyone I needed. The inspectors knew me. So I just started building new homes. And then I got a contract with Clayton County to rehab and build new homes. So I started building homes for Clayton County as well. So I did a lot of homes I built with them in one of the programs they had down there.
Okay, so we talked about your successes, which you've had many.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give me an example of a failure and how you bounce back from it?
Man, if you're in business, if you haven't failed, you haven't really tried hard enough. So go back. My first business was BioFit and Wellness. We're going back before that, before I even started National Property. So BioFit and Wellness, it was a fitness company. My background is in fitness. It was a fitness company, and I was making these CDs for people like you who work in the office, or work in the office, so you can get some workout in the office. I got this contract with Discovery Health to start doing marketing with them. So this was back early in the internet, and the articles I was writing were really good articles about fitness. And at the end of I would say, check me out at BioFit and Wellness and buy my CDs. And everything was good. And I made these CDs just like we were here and produced them. Nobody brought that. Nobody brought it. So when you have these great ideas and you see success of people reading your articles, they say, man, you have the most popular articles on Discovery Health, but nobody brought them because I didn't have a plan. I did not have a plan. I had a plan to come up with a product, but I didn't have a plan to get the product out there into the marketplace. But in terms of real estate and development, Jermaine, every project that I do, there's a mistake made on the project. There is no one is afforded the opportunity to do real estate development and not make any mistakes. There's times where I've worked with different municipalities where they didn't know what the hell they were doing. They sucked. And I ended up, holding back because it always falls out on you. It always falls out on you. So they messed up a plan, and they're like, oh no, we can't even build houses here. We can't build houses here. This is messed up. The zoning doesn't even allow us. But I already put $100,000 into the project. Wow. And they're like, yeah, we messed up.
And it's just an L, or do you get any of your money back, or?
Years, man. Years. There's something I've been fighting for years.
Damn.
You know, so it's, but it's part of the business. It is part of the business. No one gets to get into this business and not lose anything, not make any mistakes or anything like that. So you have to have a lot of thick skin, and you have to know, if I take a loss, what am I going to do next?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be careful along the way. You can't put your family, your house, or anything in jeopardy. But man, I probably have $600,000 of account receivables that I'm fighting to get.
I need to borrow $5. So, all right.
Call this cat. Never mind.
So, all right. What I really want to focus on now is how do you think how to phrase this? How do you talk to, let's say you have a son, or you have a younger brother or a frat brother, somebody, mm-hmm. and you know that they have the ability to do more than what they're doing. So what would you say to them to get them to gamble on themselves?
That's another good question. That is tough, man. I got a good friend of mine, he one of the most brilliant minds there is, and he has a business, that he does on the side. I'm like, man, that's a multi-million-dollar business. But he does so well in his career, so he doesn't want to let it go. So I say, man, if you did, I come out with the same plan that I had made for myself. I do a small plan, like if you done this, done this thing, and you do this thing, and I showed him the plan. I was like, I think you could create X amount of money over a certain period of time, but somebody got to want it. Mm-hmm. People really have to want it, and it's, I take it for granted because now I'm in it for so long. I can't imagine not, working for myself. It's like I'm putting my kids in jeopardy if I'm not working for myself. I look at when people go to work, they're temporary employees. Mm-hmm. When people they're hired
at will.
Yeah, I got hired on full time. I used to be a temp, but they hired me on. I'm like, no, my mind is you're temporary. I do not want to put my, well-being in the hands of someone that you hope that they're going to make the right decision, or hope that they have the right temperament to keep their department, their company afloat so they can pay me. I'm like, man, nah, I ain't, no. Chapter 18 in my book, I bet on me. Mm-hmm. I bet on me. I bet on my ideas. I bet on my goals. I bet on my vision. I believe in me. I believe that my vision, my goals, and ideas will work. So I don't believe that when people talk about these CEOs at these big major companies, I'm like, man, you want to invest in this company here? Like people say, when I tell people, I don't invest in stocks, bonds, Forex, or anything like that. I will not invest in those things. I invest in me, my ideas, my goal. There's no way in the world that I'm going to invest in Coke. There's no way in the world I'm going to invest in UPS. I'm going to bet that my money is going to go to this CEO and this board is going to do the right thing and make my money grow. Hell no. No. My ideas, my visions, my goals, putting the money in my pocket, I know I'm going to do the right thing. I am not putting my money in no company, no nothing. I'll bet on you because I know you. I know the person that you are, but I don't know the CEO of Coke. I don't know the CEO of Cox Enterprise. I don't know them. I'm going to give them my money and hope that, man, please, no.
I like it. Yeah. That's what's up. And a lot of people aren't willing to do that because they see or they focus on all the things that could go wrong. Mm-hmm. I could potentially, miss a couple months payments on something or whatever their wrong is. Mm-hmm. They focus on that and not what could go right. Like one thing my grandmother used to say to me, and she said it in, it was a negative thing we were talking about, but she had cancer and we were talking and I said, why you? And she said, why not me? And I apply that to everything in my life where, these people are successful. Why not me? So, and a lot of folks aren't willing to or don't know to see their life, their ideas, their goals, their dreams in the stance of why not me? I mean, this person is successful. Why can't I do it? You can. So, that's the hope is, to get people to start looking into these are my goals. Why not you? Why wouldn't it work for you?
Yeah, we look at Delta Airlines 2003, multi-billion-dollar company, bankrupt. Kmart, multi-billion-dollar company, had all the assets, bankrupt. We could look Blockbuster, controlled 80% of the market, bankrupt. And I'm going to invest in them? They have all the assets, all the money, all the investors, all the employees, the smartest people, and I'm investing in them. Man, please, no. I'm going to get rich. I'm going to get rich on my ideas. I believe in me. Everybody can hear the sound of my voice right now. Believe in yourself too, man.
So, all right, what else do you got going on? So let's move from real estate, because I know, and I'm asking this because I know the answer, but
Yeah.
what else are you betting on you for? What else do you got going?
Man, the most exciting thing that I've done in a long time is, we're making a slight pivot. National property, we call it NPI. We've done everything under the brand of NPI. We had NPI travel, and we had NPI appliances and things like that. So now we have NPI software. So we're pivoting into software. We've done software before under the brand of iQuick Tools. When we had 34 apps, and they mainly centered around real estate and construction. So now we're going back full circle around that after like 10 years. So we're developing software. So now we're developing, we have Builder. That app is out now. Now we have Builder Pro. Those are construction management software. So that's construction management software. Sector is like $1 billion sector, and it's dominated by like 3 major companies.
D.R. Horton, who else?
Builder Trend, Procore, and Blue something.
Okay.
I want a piece of that money.
Yeah.
I only need a small piece of money. So I look at this business venture, the way I'm going into it. I'm going into it Warby Parker. So if we don't know about Warby Parker and the other one, what's that suitcase company that the lady broke off of Warby Parker and she did a suitcase? Is not reinventing the wheel. Not reinvent the wheel. Just come up with something, market it very great, and take a piece of it. That's what Warby Parker did. Luxottica, the Italian company, dominated 92% of the glass market. And Warby Parker said, let's just create something similar to it, good, market it well, and take a piece of it. So with the software that I was doing, that we're developing right now, we're just looking at taking a piece of it. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're going to compete on price and service. So we have Builder Pro. We're coming up with Doorsy. That's real estate management software. So we're going up against Yardi and Door Loop. Yardi probably has 75% of the market share. Door Loop probably, I don't know what percentage of the market share, but they're the dominant too. So if you have, let's say, if you're a real estate investor and you have 100 doors, and you need management, you got to manage those. You're not on spreadsheets anymore. So we're creating that, and then we're coming up with QuickTix. QuickTix is a ticket making software. We're going to compete with Evite and what's the other ticket one that everyone's using now? But it's
I know Evite. So
yeah. So it's making tickets. It's not focusing on the event. It's focusing on the ticket. So let's say
Eventbrite. Event something.
Eventbrite. There's another one that people are starting to use. A lot of high schools are using it. A lot of fraternities and sororities are using that. So this one that we're developing now, you create a ticket on your phone so that it looks like a ticket. And you could take another phone and you can authenticate the ticket by just hovering your phone over it. Comes up with QR code, and then it'll show a green check on there. Can't use that ticket anymore, but you can buy entry into an event, buy a seat, buy a table, or anything like that, and that's called QuickTix. So those are the 3 that we're working on right now. We have them in development, and it's just a small pivot to software, and then we're pivoting into international investment. So we're doing some investment over in Belize, an emerging market over there. So we're looking at some units over there. That's really exciting. Really exciting. So looking at investments over there, when you compare, I don't want to be too long-winded or
No,
anything.
no, you good, bro.
So when you look at Belize, if you compare Belize to Bahamas, Jamaica, or Cancun, even Costa Rica, right now it's pretty much one of the last islands where you can buy right there on the ocean, right there on the Gulf or on the Caribbean, and it's affordable. So the same thing that I'm looking at.
Define affordable.
Affordable. So
No, I'm just saying. Give me an example.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. So looking at a villa on the beach. On the beach. I mean, 2-bedroom, 2,500 square feet, on the beach, probably 100 feet away from the ocean, for $1 million, or a condo that's faces the ocean.
That's not affordable.
Well, if you take that same one, you were in Bahamas, it'd be 10 million.
Okay. When you put it in perspective, that's better.
Yeah.
Because when I hear affordable and somewhere
not
outside, I'm thinking like you about to say 250,000.
Oh, not
something like that.
The other affordable.
Okay. Rich people affordable. Got you.
250,000. You put your head down. $1 million, you stand up. I'm talking about you.
Okay. All right. Yeah. There we go.
But if you buy the condo, that's right off, it overlooks the ocean. I'm talking about nice. It's around $700,000. But when I'm talking about the quality, what I'm talking about here in Atlanta, we're in Buckhead right now. So here in Atlanta, there is very little condos that would be the quality of what I'm talking about.
Oh wow.
I'm talking about.
That's saying a lot here.
Yeah, in
Buckhead, that's saying a lot.
I'm talking about, the whole wall, 10-foot glass, the whole wall that's overlooking the ocean. The quality of build, it's top. It's top notch.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So we started out as a teacher. We're just recapping.
Yeah.
You started out as a teacher. Gambled on yourself. Started your real estate.
Yes.
You rehabbing. Moved from that to contracting. Well, I'm skipping over the landlord part where you were doing the Section 8.
Yeah.
To building to now software. And it all stemmed from you saying that you were going to bet on you.
Yeah. It started from an infomercial and then said, I'm going to bet on me. I can do this. I saw it, and it all started. I can see that day. It's like it happened yesterday. I was like, I can do that. And it just, lit a spark under me. And once I seen some success at it, it was the drive to have more success. I'm driven by money. Jermaine Kimble, Dr. I'm driven by money. I am not one of these people who talk about just being happy and just being, no. What we need to, my happiness is being able to create enough wealth to take care of my family, but be able to help someone else out. And I had a brother-in-law, Ron Ambrose. He said it to me when I was a teenager. He said, black folk, we're so scared of money. We always just want to be happy, but we don't go after the money. You can do way more with money than you can, being broke. You can give people advice of being broke, but you can actually help somebody else out and lift them up with money. And I was like, yeah. And then, once I got into business, those words just kept ringing in my head. So I go after the money. And nothing's wrong with that.
Nothing at all. And you know what I appreciate with you saying that you go after the money? Like I said at the beginning, so many of the podcasts, the gurus, they're going after the money and they don't feel as though there's enough for everyone, so they have to gatekeep.
Yeah.
And you came here and you pretty much laid a blueprint on how someone can do what you did. So that's rare. So I appreciate that. So even with you saying you being about the money, you could make money selling this, but you're giving it.
Oh, I give it away.
So why is that? Why are you?
I give it away. When I was getting into this business, remember I said I should just jump out of the car and ask people questions? Why'd I have to ask 10 before I got one? And it would just frustrate me so much. I'm like, man, you're building 500 houses here. I'm just starting off. You can't tell me, how much I should be charging for an HVAC guy. So people would gatekeep. And I said, once I learn this business, I'm giving it away for free. I said, I'd rather create business associates than create business competition. So when people want information, I give them the information for free because there's so much out here for everyone, and it makes me feel good. I'm a natural born teacher. As I said, I started off as a teacher. I'm a natural born teacher, so I like teaching someone of something that I learned, and I want to see someone. I know several companies that I helped out who are way bigger than me now. It just makes me feel good.
That's what's up. Well, bro, we've been at this for about an hour now.
Really?
Yeah. And I appreciate you coming out. I appreciate you giving your time. Appreciate you giving the audience some jewels that they can use.
Yeah, man, it was good, man. You're good at this.
I appreciate it.
You're a natural at this.
I appreciate that.
For running for office, when I ran for office, we ain't even gonna talk about that. And doing other podcasts, it's usually people coming at this. It's a craft. To be able to do it. You did an excellent job on doing interviews. It's a craft, but people don't understand that it's actually a craft on giving interviews and things like that. But I think you're doing an excellent job. I'm excited to see where this is going to lead for you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Bet on you.
I planned it. That's what this is. This is me betting on me, and trying to help, give to others.
Yeah.
So again, thank you.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me.
Of course, and I'd like to have you back.
Oh, I'll be back like the Return of the Jedi.
There we go. So, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.